Hey guys, really wanted to do a fun look incorporating a Voldemort piece I had lying around and Skin Illustrator Glo-Worm. I seriously could use this product in every look I do. I love it so much. So sit back and see it all come to life. Starting with white Mehron eyeliner pencil, roughly sketch out Hogwarts. The lines on either side were just to mark where the robe would lay, because I didn't want to do all this work and only to find out it's going to be covered up by the costume. The chest piece was definitely the longest part of this whole look. Taking Skin Illustrator Grunge palette, used Prairie Dust to paint the buildings and paint in roughly since I'm still mapping out all of the structures. Also, this helped me from getting confused with what I was looking at since it was all only one color. Grunge palette again, this time use Din and start to add some shading. This all is still pretty rough. Now that it's easier to distinguish the building, went back with the Prairie Dust color and fill in ones in the back. Using the original Skin Illustrator palette, taking the vein tone for the rooftops. Use a little alcohol on a Q-tip to fix any mistakes. With Black Skin Illustrator, add shading to all the rooftops. Then, taking the Mehron palette, use the light blue with some of the white for the sky. It's fine if it's patchy, because we're going to follow this up with a brush and stipple patches to give it kind of a cloud look. Go in and add some Mehron black with it to get some darker areas. Not too worried about getting the exact color every time. Now use black and white Mehron for the cliffs. I switch between lighter gray for the top and darker and even pure black at times for the shadows. Grab Skin Illustrator white and added highlights and refined the path going down the cliffs. Then I decided to go back to the black shading. This time using Mehron black for a softer black than the Skin Illustrator. Taking the white Mehron Paradise paint for highlights. And jumping back to the Mehron black and start to put in some of the smaller details. Add in some highlights with the Mehron white. Took the Skin Illustrator vein tone for some of the missing sections. Some Skin Illustrator white to the vein tone for these little rooftops so that they wouldn't get lost against the rest of the building. Back to the black Mehron and finish shading and outlining. Add some white to the tops of the cliffs. Took Mehron Star Blend in black and added some shading to the bottom of the buildings right above the cliffs. Spritz Skin Illustrator Zero Marble Sealer to seal all that work. Now the face. Telesis Beta Bond Plus to glue down a Krylon bald cap. Carefully cut out holes for the ears and pull them through. Now for the foam latex prosthetic. This is a Woochie FX piece called Dark Lord. Glue the center area of the face and carefully put it into position. Once it's lined up, work your way out, glue the rest of the sections. Seal the edges with some of the Beta Bond and go over the whole piece to prep it for paint. After it has dried clear, apply some Skin Illustrator Zero Color Powder to get rid of any tack. Mix coral and white Mehron and stipple with a natural sea sponge. It's more white than coral because I wanted to create a color that wasn't pure white but still really pale. With the new Skin Illustrator Polychrome palette, take Porcelain and an orange stipple sponge. Now I stippled this all over, and I recommend doing this with a larger piece of sponge. but this is the only one I could find at the time, so I just went with it. Next up, back to the polychrome palette and used the Ivory Rose. I ended up getting fed up stippling with such a tiny sponge that I put some in the airbrush and started a noodling pattern all over. And take the original Skin Illustrator palette and use the vein tone in an airbrush. Add some veining and use this as a shader. Take Coven out of the polychrome palette and paint the lips and under the eyes. Grab white Skin Illustrator and stipple over everything to soften the veins. Also took some and spattered it all around. Back to the Skin Illustrator polychrome palette, use Lividity for the veins along the back of the head coming forward. These are smaller and tighter together than the blue veins, applying them in different thicknesses and opacity. And that's the makeup for the normal lighting. For the UV effect, use Skin Illustrator Glo-Worm and a black light. Paint a full moon with some highlights around the surrounding clouds. Add it to the rooftops, keeping in mind that the moon is the light source. Also painting in a bunch of windows. The dark mark, hand painted it on the top of the head. And after I clean it up some, now take the Skin Illustrator Glo-Worm Liquid, fill up the airbrush, and apply it around the mark. This will give it a glowing effect. Also spray some around the moon, start to create squiggling lines out from the mark and down towards Hogwarts. Went over the main line going down to the castle to make it bold in comparison to the rest of it. And there you go, 2 makeups in 1. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and comment if you enjoyed this look, and I'll see you next time.